Everybody, this is Ricardo D. Rice from the Leadership and Media Company TV and Radio, and I'm here with another component of the amazing conference we were just talking about, Mrs. Diane Bailey. How are we doing today?
I'm excellent, thank you.
All right, so for those that do not know anything about you, tell them about you.
Well, my name is Diane Bailey. I am the CEO and founder of Emerge Natural Beauty Industry Alliance, located in Brooklyn, New York. But my whole purpose was to create an entity to open up the industry around communication in natural hair and beauty. So we don't just talk about hair care. My focus is more on the business, the cultural, the social, and the political side of the industry.
Okay, so for those that know me, y'all know my background is pre-law political science. So this is the kind of, I like this kind of carrying on. So let's start from the beginning. So tell me why this particular fight, because I know I was hearing them. I know that California just passed a law about discrimination with hair.
Yes.
So why
California
this particular
and
fight?
New York.
Oh, New York did too?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I knew about California.
Mm-hmm.
So why this particular fight, especially we'll say corporate America,
Yes.
this fight? Why this fight?
Well, I don't even consider it a fight. This is a right. This is our privilege. This is our given, destiny to be able to be our own selves. And so for so many years, we already had a racial discrimination bill, right? But it was never expressed to us that hair was race and race is hair. And so now we understand through this, the Crown Act, as they call it. The Crown Act talks about how hair and race are one, and how it is always and has always been our cultural aesthetic. Every culture has its own aesthetic. If you lived in Asia, they have an aesthetic. If you were in India, they have an aesthetic. And so in Africa, we have an aesthetic too. And our aesthetic has so much range from straight to kinky to curly to wiry. And so why is not valued here? Because the system that we live in wants you to conform to an aesthetic that's not ours. And that's how it's been for hundreds and hundreds of years. And my concern, more than the physical component of stressing our hair out, the psychological component, the economical component, and the social components of hair discrimination, and what it has done to our system, what it has done to our children, and it will do to our legacy if we don't change the law.
Okay. So where do you stand currently with law? I know we have 2 states down, so is the goal to spread it
Yeah,
in every
so
state?
hair discrimination, the Crown Act has been established in California and New York, and it goes into effect in 2020, January. And we state by state, if that's what we have to do. But more importantly, we want to make it a federal act. We want it to go federal so that the whole country will be able to address racial discrimination based on hair typing and hair bias.
So for those that don't understand exactly what that means, explain what that means when you say hair bias, hair discrimination.
Hair discrimination, which means like if you're at your job and you're due for a promotion and they say, oh, we love the work, but you know how to change your hair. It cannot be. You should be able to get that job, get that promotion without any bias based on hair color, hair typing, your nose, your lips, your skin tone. Any of that is biased and discriminatory. And in the state of New York now, and in the state of California, if your employee does that to you, you have a law case, you have a suit. You can sue your employer or anyone like that. Even in school, just the other day, a grandmother had to go and pick up her granddaughter because they said her hair was not appropriate for school. She had braids in her hair. A couple of weeks ago, a gentleman gave himself a barber cut and had a zigzag part. And the teachers went and put a Sharpie and colored in the part. Colored in the part. Colored in the part with the Sharpie. And then when he tried to shampoo it out, it had stained his skin, which means it went into his pores, which means it probably went into his bloodstream, toxic ink. So they are so particularly controlling about our look and trying to master who we are as a people that they would take our children, our babies, and plant these seeds of self-hatred, so because they don't feel comfortable with our hair.
So let me ask you a question as it pertains to that particular law. So in criminal law, we have assault, we have battery. Assault is you feel like you're being endangered.
Yes.
Battery says you're actually being endangered. Is this law kind of based on the ideology of assault? That is, I feel like they were asking me to change my hair, or I feel like, my hair was not good enough in the work environment that I'm in. Is that kind of how this law is being built?
No, this law is not being built like I feel like. This is an actual manifestation of choices that have to be made in the policy of the corporation. All corporations have policies of dress codes, and they have policies of what's acceptable in this environment and what is not acceptable in this environment. And if you come in and you get a job and they say your hair is not appropriate for this particular job, now you already have this job and you decided that you want to go natural, or you decided you want to add braids, because as women, that's what we do. We change our hair.
I never know what my sister's going to do with her hair. It's quite annoying.
I might have interviewed with my hair straight, but 6 months later, I might decide I want extensions or I want an afro, and that's what we do as people. And so that means that you are going to lose a job or lose a position or get a lower position because you don't fit the physical expectations of that policy in that workplace. That is wrong. And it has nothing to do with your efficiency, it has nothing to do with your effectiveness, but what it does have to do with is creating an environment where you feel hostile, where you feel like you're the enemy. I have a client that she worked in an environment where she wore her afro, and they would always make her wear it up and back because they felt like it was intrusive. It was too distracting. These are the words that they use. It's not professional, or it is not acceptable. And all these, dogmatic words, all these words that are classical biased terms to kind of put you in a hole that you don't fit. We have a cultural aesthetics. We have a rich culture and diverse. And the hair discrimination symposium that we're doing tomorrow talks about the law, it talks about advocacy, and it talks about the healing from the discriminatory environments that we've been living in for a very, very long time. We don't even know, not have felt it initially, but in our community, we have the highest rate of hair loss. We have been traumatized so much. We have been ostracized. We have been diminished. Our grandmothers could not wear their hair. Our mothers were allowed to wear their hair, but only if you wore it this way. And so now this generation says, I want to wear my hair the way it was growing out of my head. And we're having some challenges doing that. And so because we're having some challenges doing that, we have gotten together with the Crown Coalition. There's about 40 of us. And we have decided, and with the help of Dove, to make a stand and create new law.
Nice.
And it's really important. It's really important. It seems like a frivolous thing to talk about hair as an empowerment, but it's not really, because we all have it.
Well, not me. But not me. But I think But imagine, okay, you have a goatee and a mustache. So with black men, facial hair is usually a very prominent thing, because a lot of times our hair grows curly, and so we get ingrown hair, and we have all types of skin disorders because of it. And so lots of black men and men of color want to keep their beards and their mustaches, and in some environments, that's not acceptable either. Yeah.
In some cases, men, because of their religion, have to wear their hair covered and grow their beards. And because of that, a lot of times they will not get the position, or they even will lose their jobs. If you're Islamic, or if you have some kind of religious belief where you're not supposed to cut your hair, or you're not supposed to groom your beard, or whatever that is that your religion says that is opposed to what the American society culture says, that is discriminatory if you do not hire them or you fire them based on that.
Well, you hit it the nail on the head when you said a few minutes ago. It seems frivolous, and honestly, coming into this, I was like, okay, this is interesting. I want to see exactly what the take is. But now that you talk about it, you really realize that
it is so much deeper than am I wearing my hair straight or if I'm wearing my hair curly. It is so much deeper to the point where we are changing the law.
So should that be moving forward, should that be the new conversation as it pertains to not only just you changing your hair every day, but what does that mean to you, your personality, your everyday presentation? Is that the new conversation we should start having, especially with our young black girls?
Absolutely, absolutely. One of the things why we're having this convention, the Natural Hair Industry Convention, and our partner, Emerge has partnered with the convention, and we are featuring the Hair Discriminatory Symposium, is because it's a new day. It's a new day. We have social media that when people are discriminated against and they make a phone call and it gets on that news, it spreads across the nation within minutes.
Even before the phone call.
Before the phone call. It is reaching thousands and millions of people across the ocean. Do you understand how it is so vitally important to be able to live your best life and to be able to nurture your children and know that your family is being honored and respected on a simple thing as their hair. And it might seem like a very small issue, but a lot of black girls, I was one of those little black girls. Oprah talks about it all the time. Not seeing the images that reflect us, our true selves. Always emulating other people of color, always trying to fit, always trying to conform, always trying to make do, always trying to appease, always trying to, like lesser ourselves so other people can be greater. At this point in our lives, we don't have to do any of that. Beauty inclusion means that we want to be included in the standard of beauty. And if you don't appreciate it, we can allow ourselves to appreciate it. I have advocated for natural hair since I've been a stylist. I've been a stylist over 40 years. So I've been advocating for natural hair all my life. And I feel like at this moment, with this Crown Act and this natural hair law that's going to be passed in many, many states coming up, that I have finally reached a place where, like this is like, it's like I'm gonna erupt with happiness, because now all the years that I have coached and talked to people and trained people has come to a point where now we're gonna be fully accepted nationally and internationally. And that to me, it makes me emotional. I'm like a little teary because it's taken this long, and we just really getting started. Because I want to create the next generation of young women so that, when we're talking about this again, we're not talking about it as just 2 states. We're talking about it as a nationwide acceptance. And of course, we're going to always have those challenges because racism is never going away.
Ever.
It's never going away. As long as there are different races, there's always going to be that challenge to, to conform, to fit in, and so forth. However, there's a part of me that knows that as long as we accept ourselves, that's what I'm concerned about. That we accept ourselves. My challenge is, for people to embrace that, and for the next generation to receive that, and the next generation to receive that. So at some point, the things that we have around self-hate and self-loathing and butchering our hair and traumatizing our bodies trying to fit, we'll do less and less and less of that.
I'm not gonna say anything else because I actually want to be here tomorrow to hear all of this. So you definitely want to be. How did they get in touch with you?
Okay, well, my name is Diane Bailey. I am on Instagram, IG as Diane C. Bailey. I am also on Instagram with Emerge, lowercase NBIA. You can find me also on my website, www.emergendia.com.
All right, if you do not have your tickets, you definitely want to get here this weekend because it sounds like it's going to be amazing. So we will see you guys this weekend.
Hopefully.